And we're live. Well, hello everybody, this is AfolASMR, aka Matt, and I apologise for the picture quality. Unfortunately, I'm still having to use my laptop because I haven't been able to work out how to do my digital SLR camera for these live streams. 1 minute whilst I just fix my mic. I took off one of the covers, so I need to put the fresh one back on. So, with luck, it should, in theory, create a better audio. So, we are now live. It's Saturday the 4th of April 2021, and if you're watching this back on the live stream and you want to join these in future, I will just go through the house rules. Keep it clean, keep it friendly, keep it safe. You know, no sort of rudeness, coarseness, anything like that. Otherwise, we're good. So, you know, you play ball with me, I play ball with you, as the saying goes. So, yes, obviously at this moment, only sort of the first minute and a half into the live stream, so usually at this time it's very quiet and waiting for a few people to join, so I just talk, and of course if this goes on long enough and there's no one on board, it becomes a vlog. You know, easiest way to record a vlog. As I said, I apologise for the quality of the video. However, I'm working with my laptop, so once I finally figure out how to use my proper digital camera, I will be using that. So, you know, touch wood, because my tabletop's made of wood. By next week I may have it figured out. Otherwise, I'm afraid it'll be back to this setup. We work with what we have. So, how's my week gone? Got quite a few scripts written last week for the channel. Quite pleased about that. Still got 4 to write, but because they're for... Oh, hello Dappist, welcome for thank you for joining me. Yes, I'm just going through my week really at the moment, sort of just a quick catch up. So how... No, that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to ramble on for a little bit. So where was I? Oh yes, 5 scripts written this week for Lord of War and Heartache, so that's going quite well at the moment. I've still got 4 to write, but because they're for later chapters and for the Academy, well, I've also got some Academy scripts to write, but I'm actually not going to write scripts. I'm going to write the notes, but I'm not actually going to write them as scripts. I'm going to give like cue notes. Actually, I'm going to take these headphones off because it's very muffled and I can't tell how sort of loud I am, so I can't really hear myself, so I'm taking these off because it... Right, okay, there we go, that's better. So where was I? Yes, so basically got quite a few scripts to write, which obviously I email out. No printing, thank goodness. How many have I got in total? About 23, but a majority of them are actually for me. I think we've got about, for me, there's about 12. So I've got about half the scripts because they're all sort of characters that I'm playing in various chapters. So, you know, there's 12 for me and 11 for other people, but I'll get them written this week. I've got some other things I need to deal with first, but I'll get them written. Still looking for participants, so if you're watching this back, you can, and you're interested in participating in the Lord of War and Heartache, you can contact me via email. The link to my email, my channel email, is in the About tab of my channel. If you're on Twitter, you can message me via Twitter, and if you're on Instagram, you can message me via Instagram. So, easy to get in touch with me. Yeah, so I have the lists on the spreadsheet, so, easy to send them out for people who wish to participate, and always a lot of fun. I've had a lot of people say how much they've enjoyed my process. So it, I don't force characters on anybody. Everyone chooses their own characters. 100% development process on them. I take no involvement. I work with people, but I write the characters, I write the notes, everyone else does the rest. Simple as that. I also don't rush people. If they need extra time, they can have extra time. So that's not an issue with me at all. I do have deadlines, but I don't like deadlines. So in all honesty, I'd love to give people as long as they need really. I mean, I can understand the need for deadlines for a collaboration, but personally I don't like them. But that's why I'm so generous with them, because I like to give people as long as possible in my project. So yeah, so most of the scripts I've written are for chapters 15 through to 17, and I think I've also got a couple written for chapter 21 and 22. Chapter 20 will probably just be me on my own. I do sometimes do standalone stories where it's just me doing the voices. Most often they're side story chapters, but in all sense and purposes I also do a few main chapters as well, because I think it helps to sort of balance it out. I mean, chapter 9 coming up is a collaboration, chapter 10 is a solo, chapter 11 is a collaboration, and chapter 12 is a partial collaboration. 13 is a collab, 14 is a collab, 15 through to 19 is a collab. Are all collaborations. Chapters 21 and 22 are collabs. I haven't started writing chapter 20. I haven't started planning chapter 20 yet, or 23. But they will probably be just me on my own writing and performing. After that, will probably jump over to the Academy project, which will be like the summertime project. So I'm looking at a July-August deadline for that. Which chapter are we talking about? Chapter 9 or one of the future chapters? Just want to clarify, because I'm still looking for people for chapters 15 through to 19, 21 and 22. I think you've already got the list or access to it, Dappist. So do have a look. And let me know. As I say, the Oh, the Academy of Entertainers is very specific, so I have put out quite a few messages on Twitter and Instagram about that one. And there are versions of that list um, on my channel, which I may need to do an update, so I might take those videos down and make new versions of them. Oh yeah, I'm good for the upcoming one, thank you. Yes. I am waiting for one more person, but there was a bit of a big setback. But I've moved the deadline to the 16th of April anyway for chapters 9 to 13. So we're all doing pretty good at the moment. So it's going well. It's going well. I'm obviously going to be writing some side stories as well. I've got a few extra characters I think I might introduce. I might actually create some new characters for side stories. I might do one more Trigon story before chapter 11. I haven't decided on that one yet, but I think Geoffrey of Trigon needs at least one more standalone between 9 and 10. Plenty more Cleo and Trajan on the way. Yeah, so always on the lookout for participants. For anyone watching this back, as I say, you can contact me via email, Twitter, Instagram. Oh, excellent. Yeah. The side stories don't necessarily involve the diplomat, which is the main viewer character, but I always do have extra characters on standby. So that might be, and I would like your character to recur actually, Gapist. I think that would be a nice, not all the time obviously, but I think that would be a nice sort of bridge in a way between the two sides of the story. I will work something out. I think we can work something out definitely, because I think something like your character could in fact be very much, how should I say it, a source of information for certain characters. Having being a traveller and everything, I would imagine that your character would see and hear a lot of things, so they might be able to not so much as well as trade items and magical objects, perhaps also trade on information as well. So we could definitely work something out for the storyline there. That's not an issue at all. Yeah. So yeah, plenty happening at the moment, and I'm really pleased with how it's going. I mean, I never imagined it would get to. I would plan 22 chapters so far. I mean, we've only got chapter 8, and we're only up to chapter 8 on the main storyline, and Lord Volkov part 4, I think, also known as the Darkest Hour. There's a lot of different side stories though, so there's a whole range of side stories that feature, and there's going to be a lot more to come as well. As I said, there's going to be more Cleo and Trajan, there's going to be more Volkov, there's going to be more Yes, it can be chaotic good. I like chaotic good. I think that's I think that's a very good alignment for sort of a lot of good characters, really. I mean, Volkov is chaotic evil. He's one of the few inherently evil characters in the series, along with the Tyrant King. Um, Obviously, his is a he is a victim of circumstance, but most characters are at least chaotic neutral or chaotic good. You know, there's no inherently evil characters. I mean, even the vampires, even the majority of vampires that are featured haven't necessarily been evil. Um, I mean, I would say that, how shall I say it? Maximus is, if anything, immoral, but he's not pure evil. Um, um, you know, it's a matter of perspective, really, on how people look at the characters. It's like Rafik, really. He's, if anything, he's chaotic neutral. The character of Rafik. I know there's a lot of people that I know there's a number of people who have a bit of a soft spot for the character. I am working on some new material for him. So, you know, watch this space. He might get a redemption arc. I haven't decided yet, but he might have a redemption, shall we say. I haven't quite worked out how or when, but we shall have to wait and see what happens. So I haven't quite got that far in the story yet. I mean, mind you, we've got the Civil War to come, so that's going to be quite exciting. Probably won't be any sort of battles because being ASMR, it's got to be kept at a sort of quiet tone sort of thing, comfortable for the viewer. So it will be a lot of behind the scenes and probably the sound of battle in the background, you know, very muffled sort of. I have got sound effects for that sort of thing, so that's not an issue. You know, but that will probably be further down the line because we're still sort of in the search for the crown, as it were. Now it's gone missing. I mean, we haven't even got back into the Ondarian monarchy yet. I mean, Chapter 11 will be set in the Ondarian monarchy, but it won't be the diplomat. You'll have to wait and see for that one. But at the moment, the main part of the story is taking place, up until Chapter 15, is taking place in the Desert Realm. And then it'll be in the Dream Realm. Then it'll be back in the Desert Realm. And then it'll be, after that, heading into Ondar, moving over towards the Forest Realm. Now the thing is, I'm already introducing characters for the Forest Realm so I'm already establishing characters for later chapters or concepts for later chapters. I decided to do something a bit alternative for Chapter 11 in comparison to the rest of the story because I wanted to take it away. I wanted to take an aspect of the story away from the current setting and show a chapter set in the other direction, you know, the monarchy. So, you know, you've got, you know, we'll be meeting the Crown Princess Persephone and Lady Estrella, the Governess Royal of Varuna, or the Forest Realm, originally known as the Kingdom of Jeridia. So, you know, it's promising. Everything is looking promising. You know, I am pretty pleased with how it's all going. Um, so yeah, things are looking up. As I say, I'm always thinking and developing characters and roles and everything. I mean, I've got a list of 2,622 names that I've come up, well, not come up with, but I delved into Wikipedia and copied and pasted a whole load of names. It came up to about 2,622, which there won't be that many characters, but it gives me an opportunity to play around with names and styles. So it works. It works for me, and they're all listed alphabetically. So um, it definitely gives me something to think about and develop, which I'm quite happy about in my spare time. So yeah, I'm always on the lookout and always on the looking for ideas and things. I'm getting to the point now that I'm thinking of really asking, because the problem is I'm thinking I may have to approach people. I don't like. Now, this is the honest truth. I do prefer people to approach me. I don't like going to people and saying, "Hi, do you want to appear in my work?" I mean, I know that's how it's done by a lot of people, but I'm just not like that. I don't feel I don't feel it should be made to feel like an obligation. It should be, hence why it's an open invitation. I don't see why people should feel obliged to take part if. I've always been nervous about approaching people about it. I mean, I've done it, and I've had some people say yes, I've had some people say no. That's the worst case scenario that can happen. The worst they can say is no. But I'm very wary of doing it because you don't want to look desperate. That's the thing. You don't want to make yourself look desperate. And granted, it is very slow going the way I'm doing it, but I do also feel okay. So again, I grant you. It might look desperate by the way I keep retweeting everything, but at the same time, it. Well, I've got. I've got the role. I've taken the role of the Dragon Lord. I will be honest. But I'm still looking for people for the Dream Realm. Definitely. There's plenty of roles available for the Dream Realm, so please do have a look at that. I know you have the list. I will update it and send you through Twitter the new link, because there's some changes to the list, but that I'll do that later for you, so you can have a look. That's not an issue. Yeah, I mean, the other one obviously is the Academy, but considering some of them are quite unique roles, I understand. I do understand that not everyone will be into them, shall we say. So I work with what I have, I mean, I am looking for 2 musicians, 3 jesters, one of which is a leader, and 2 dance students really. So that's 7 out of 16. So I'm about halfway there. I mean, I've I've got 2 characters that I'm playing. And then, you know, so I'm looking for, you know, I am looking for, you know, people for that as well. So again, if anyone's watching this back and they're interested, drop me a line. But you know, I'm always looking for people because I'd love to get as many people involved. I'd absolutely love to get as many people involved as I can, even if they just do it once. Even if they just do it once. I've got a couple of people who have done a couple of chapters already, but are doing more chapters, which I'm incredibly happy about. So that's quite good. You know, I've got some regular. Oh, excuse me, I'm coming off camera, but I'm just adjusting my chair. I'm not in a very comfortable position, so excuse me. There we go. There we go. That's better. So yeah, I'm sort of, you know, working through the lists and everything, and keeping everything sort of up to date as it changes and adapts. And yeah, I'm quite excited about it. I am genuinely quite excited because I think we've got some good. Of course, we can discuss lore. Oh, you might be interested in playing a jester. Well, that's fine. I mean, it won't be anything physical. It'll be sort of like telling jokes and sort of things like that. So it won't, you know, there won't be anything. The jesters won't be doing anything physical unless they want to try. You know, unless participants want to try something like juggling or something like that. You know, that's up to them. Yeah, so lore. Let's see. So, where have we got? What have we got for locations? We've got Well, if you were to play a jester student, if you were to play a student jester, you know that would, you know, I guess that would be, you know, you could have just joined the academy and become, you know, and sort of encountering your first week there, and so, you know, learning the ropes as it were. That could sort of, you know, and you don't actually need because with the academy, certain things would not be issued like a costume until sort of you become like an intermediate student. So you wouldn't actually have to dress like a jester, as it were. So it would just be sort of medieval, sort of, or anything like that. Because jesters, bards, musicians, and singers usually come from the Ondarian monarchy. So, because they're trained to sort of entertain the monarch, and so they would come from sort of Ondarian stock, shall we say. I've got it all worked out. That's the thing. I've got the lore all worked out. I mean, you've got so anything sort of for. Oh, it's all lighting up. I don't know what Zion RP is or anything, but I seem to be getting a lot of similar messages. Oh well, never mind. We'll carry on. I don't know what Zion is, I'm afraid, but it's interesting that so many people seem quite enthusiastic about it. Anyway, I'll carry on. I really don't know what this Zion Malu RP is. I'm going to have to Google it. I am going to have to Google it because there seems to be so many people who want it, which is interesting. I have no idea what is going on, so it just seems to be a lot of people filling up my chat. Never mind, we'll carry on. But thank you for joining me, and thank you for putting in those messages. Nice to hear from you. I'm afraid I don't know what Zion is, but I'll do some research and perhaps see what's happening. It's interesting to see so many people enthusiastic for one concept. So we shall have to see what happens. I'm afraid I don't really know anything about Zion Malu or what it is. But again, thank you for requesting it. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, so the lore for my storyline is the art of the forest realm is that they're sort of like master glass makers. I will look it up later. I will investigate it much later. I won't do it now because but I will investigate this Zion City thing later. So maybe because I'm not just going to be doing my stuff on my channel. I'm going to be doing some new stuff as well. So I will investigate and see what it's all about. But as I said, thank you for joining me, and thank you for sort of interacting. I do appreciate your interactions. So anyway, let's see. Glassware comes from the forest realm. Metallurgy is done in the city of Trigon with the Forge Masters, and we've already investigated the city of Trigon, or visited the city of Trigon in the Trigon saga, where we've met the Overseer, we've met Geoffrey of Trigon and Garen, who is another Forge Master. The Forge Masters actually run the city. The Overseer is like a token leader, because they're not ruled by... Trigon is literally the only city in the lore of my project that isn't ruled by a duke. It's ruled by an Overseer. YouTube's been doing that a lot with buffering lately. I think you could definitely do a... I did enjoy your most recent... I have to say I haven't posted a comment or anything, but I did enjoy your most recent medieval roleplay. I thought that was very good. I really did enjoy that one. But glassware comes from the forest realm, as it was buffering for you. Glassware comes from the forest realm because that's where they make it. They actually ship sand in from the desert realm. You think they'd make it in the desert realm, but it's an ancient elven tradition that the descendants, who look more human than elf, carry on. Metalwork is done in the monarchy in the city of Trigon, as I was saying, with where, as I said, we've met the overseer Geoffrey and Garen so far. I'm thinking of introducing a few more Forge Masters. I haven't decided yet, but they sort of do all the stuff for the army, the swords, the sort of things like that. In the Desert Realm, it's mainly all pottery. They tend. I haven't introduced the sort of industries of the Desert Realm, but it's mainly things like pottery, which I haven't actually mentioned in any of the story yet. I think I've mentioned. No, I've written in chapter 21, which is yet to be made. I've mentioned glassware. That will be the first. You've heard it here first, to be honest, ladies and gentlemen. That will be the first mention of glassware from the Forest Realm. I think I have mentioned it elsewhere. I can't remember if I have or not. There might be something mentioned in chapter 11. Metalwork is definitely mentioned in the Trigon trilogy, so we definitely sort of have that processed there. Then there's the imports from none of the countries across the Uncharted Sea or the Uncharted Ocean, which is actually a misnomer. You know, it's not actually. It's very well charted, so it's a bit of a strange name that the people of the monarchy have given it. But the Firelands where the dragons reside don't actually export anything. There's exotic timbers from the nation to the west, and minerals and gemstones from the nation to the north. I've never given them names because whether or not I choose to reveal them is not. I've slyly dropped hints to a certain, slyly dropped nods to a certain nation that another particular ASM artist mentioned or created, shall we say. I haven't, I've been very careful in how I do my nods to that one, because obviously don't want too many things in the universe to clash, shall we say. I am hoping to talk to them about it, so I think yeah, I mean, I've done so much lore about the main story and the history of the realms. I've and some of the culture and everything. I have to say I have kind of skipped over a lot of the sort of imports and exports of the realm. The initials are WW. Yes. I think you know. I think you've guessed. Definitely. That one has always been a big influence in my style, and oh, what about the about where everything comes from and what's made where? I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Glassware from the Forest Realm, metalwork from the monarchy, and pottery from the Desert Realm. you know, it really does sort of work out like that, really. And then obviously you've got overseas, as I said, you've got timber and thing. Ah, right. Most magic users in the desert realm, they can use magic freely without any license because they have a natural affinity for it. In the monarchy, Ondar City, which is the capital, has like a guild of mages, which I've yet to introduce. And the elf descendants of the forest realm also have a natural affinity for magic, but they regulate it themselves rather than the monarchy regulate it. So scrolls can come from anywhere in the land, but if they come from the desert realm, they're quite dangerous because they're sort of freely written, you know, without any sort of formal training or guidance. They're heavily regulated in the central monarchy from Ondar City, so they're usually the most protected magic scrolls. And the ones that come from the forest realm are usually nature based, healing based, or defense based. Desert Realm usually are offensive spells like Fireball, Lightning Strike, things like that. And the Monarchy, they have a bit of everything really. I mean, because of Necrotia, which was the former city of Drevin, where the vampires dwell, from Necrotia you get things like necromancy spells leak out. So you get, scrolls from there usually to do with raising the dead or enslaving someone's mind. It's dark magic from Necrotia. They are rare. Those scrolls would be incredibly rare and incredibly dangerous. So it would be the most foolhardy person who gets their hands on one of those scrolls in the series. Usually very much dark forces. So technically, a character like yours would not really come into contact with them, because they are incredibly rare outside of Necrotia. And to be honest, your character, or a majority of the characters who are not vampires, would not visit Necrotia because of how dangerous it is. It happened in chapter 2 with the diplomat, aka the viewer, because that's how the story had to progress. In my mind, that's how it progressed. So, it. Yeah, so there's plenty to think about for that, for magic. And, scrolls, magic items. Sometimes some scrolls are linked to magic items. So someone would have to have the corresponding item to go with the scroll. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, because obviously most of the magic we've had in the series has been like hypnosis magic and sort of like mind reading or divination magic. We haven't had any sort of physical magic, like shooting fireballs from the hand, or summoning spirits, or I got the power of himself. Yep, I like that. I like that. Yes, yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, most of my characters are essential NPCs anyway. If you think of it like a video game. Um, so far, I've only killed off. This is the thing. This is the thing. So far, I've only killed off one character, and that's the vampire Harker, and he's one of my characters. You know, I won't ever look at killing off anyone else's characters, because I don't think it's fair. I don't have an issue killing off my own characters because, you know, if I get bored of them, or I feel they don't have a use anymore. Like Harker, I mean, he was like a 2-episode character. He ran his course basically, and I was able to introduce other characters in his place, which worked wonders. So really, it would be a lot of my characters that get removed, so that other characters can continue and thrive and develop, whilst I sort of introduce some extra minor characters. You know, well, yeah, I'll give it a thought. I don't like sort of doing that sort of thing with participants because I don't feel it's fair on them. But if you're interested in such a concept, I'm sure we could work on something. Textiles and fabrics come from right across the monarchy. When I say the monarchy, I mean all 3 regions: Desert Realm, Central Monarchy, and Forest Realm. If it's highly patterned, it would be from the Desert Realm because they're all about bright colours and incredible patterns. If it's plain and one colour like mauve or red or things like that, that's the monarchy, because they work in very sort of singular colours, like the medieval period and the Victorian era. Their clothing was very sort of singular in colour. Then if it has like sort of elegant sort of flowing patterns like leaf designs or swirls or anything like that, that would be very much akin to the elven style. Think Lord of the Rings in that sense. Like Arwen's costume or Galadriel's costume, sort of like that, or even I've forgotten his name now. The leader of the elves. Oh, good. I'm glad you're. I'm happy to help. This is a way of, as I always say to people, if you're watching this back, ladies and gentlemen, on the replay, this is the sort of thing I talk about when I say, please don't be afraid to contact me to discuss these things if you're involved in the project, because I'm always approachable, and well, you were still raised correctly, Dappist. You were still raised correctly. Star Wars and Star Trek, you can't go wrong with them. Okay, a better example for you. Anything worn by Padme Amidala would technically count towards elven style in my world. So yeah, so anything that Padme wore, yeah, that would, the colours and the designs are similar. So yeah. And I guess in a way for Desert Realm, think Tatooine as well, in a way, I guess. Uh, that could be another way of describing it. Yeah, I've never thought to describe it using Star Wars. Some people might like that concept, but obviously this isn't Star Wars, and I don't have Jedi or Sith or anything like that. It's fantasy, not sci-fi. But never mind. You can always find an analogy somewhere in it all. So yeah, so always working on. But as I said, if you're watching this back through the replay and you're wondering what we're discussing and why notes are being taken, this is the sort of thing I always say to people. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, any queries, anything like that, contact me. Even if you do it through one of these live streams, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help in whatever capacity I can. I have no issue with it. So, yeah, so fabric, cloth, anything like that comes from the whole... See, this is the thing. I never played Dungeons and Dragons, but I played Warhammer. Warhammer Fantasy Battles up to... I don't play Age of Sigmar. To this day, I'm really angry with Age of Sigmar because of... Yes, that would be... Yes, another thing I've never... Okay, so... the desert realm for food would be a lot of fish, especially in the capital city of Gebelra, because they're on a freshwater lake, or an oasis. It's a large city on a large oasis, which means they'd eat a lot of fish. Bread is quite common, obviously, across the entire monarchy. Depending on how rich you are, is the quality of bread you receive. So if you're quite rich, you get a really good loaf. If you're quite poor, you get quite a heavy, grainy loaf, which is rough on the teeth. A lot of fruit, no made up fruit or anything. It is literally just going to be things like apples, oranges, grapes, lemons, limes, pears. If you can think of a fruit that grows anywhere in the world, it will be available in this world. Obviously, a lot of the grain because of the central monarchy being the sort of greenest area, that would be a lot of farming. So you'd have a lot of crops, a lot of animals. So a lot of vegetables are grown in the monarchy. The wheat and barley, the wheat, oats and barley are all grown in the monarchy, in the central monarchy. Again, fish. Port Night Song, which I haven't covered this bit of Port Night Song, but it's known for its oysters. So oysters are quite a delicacy in the monarchy. Not so much in the forest realm or the desert realm. Obviously, because it's also the hub of the monarchy, Ondar City has a lot of imports of caviar from the coast. So that's because it's the richest area of the land. So you've got caviar coming in. The richest person in the desert realm is the governor, but he basically would eat what the rest of them would eat, except a bit more upper. class, so he would have access to things like. You also have the sweeteners like honey, treacle, honey and treacle. So sugar would be grown in the monarchy in certain areas. It would be sugar beet, not sugar cane. In Britain, we grow sugar beet, so that would be the equivalent grown in my. I've kind of based the Central Monarchy on Britain, the Desert Realm on the Middle East, and the Forest Realm on, I would say, sort of Northern Europe, I guess. And for the desert, for the Forest Realm, there would be a lot of game. So it'd be a very sort of hunt. It would be like the raw hunting grounds, because there's a lot of wooded areas in the. Excuse me, my back's playing up again. There'd be a lot of forest, although much of it has been deforested after the rise of the Tyrant King. There would be many. Right, walk into a. Yeah, I haven't covered this. So, in the desert realm, it would be fish and possibly things like beef or pork related. Yes, yeah, that's a good question actually. Maple, yeah, they would have an equivalent of it. Yeah, again, not exactly covered that as such. There's still a lot of things I need to cover, but this is actually giving me quite a few ideas for a side story involving cookery or something like that, perhaps. Yeah, preparing a feast or something that could work. Anyway, yeah, it would have as I mentioned, sugar and treacle and honey and things like that. Maple would be they a lot of things. They would have a lot of things that are familiar to us, shall we say? That's the thing. I don't want to make anything up and overcomplicate it. We have mentioned in chapter 4 there was a drink mentioned called Eastern Delight, which is basically just an alcoholic beverage akin to maybe rum or brandy. I never really covered. I just named it. I just gave it a name. They drink tea. They have their own tea, and it would again be very similar to the teas we have in this one. As I say, I've tried to keep everything aligned with the real world that we live in, to keep it as familiar as possible for that sort of thing. For food, drink, they drink ale, they drink beer. They don't have coffee. They don't actually have coffee. Tea is probably as far as they go. They sort of have an equivalent of coffee, but they don't actually name it. That is mentioned in chapter 13 coming up. But as I say, they haven't actually called it coffee. Food-wise, in the monarchy, you get a lot of things like venison. They would have like an equivalent, yeah. They wouldn't probably call it chocolate, but because they haven't really got anywhere to grow it. If anything, it would have the. Well, I suppose they would have like cocoa beans, but it would have to be imported from the land in the west, the land across to the west from on the uncharted ocean. So it would be quite rare and quite expensive. So really, only the rich You know, like the monarch or the dukes and duchesses or members of the nobility would be the only ones able to purchase it, because it would be really rare. But if it fell into the hands of, say, a peddler, it would go for a lot of krell, a lot of grand krell. You know, you're looking at something like in that situation, um, at least 1,000 grand krell, which is quite a lot of money in that world, in this world. Um, you know, so it would allow 1,000 grand krell would set up someone for retirement for life. You know, it would be a lot of money, not as much as what the monarch or the nobility have, but it would pay for a very comfortable house and allow people to live comfortably for a very long time. Because chocolate would be such a rare commodity. Um, so you know, um, it would it's probably in my world, it's probably much more precious than gold. Much more precious than gold because it's so rare. You know, so it would be something very special if a character got their hands on a bar of chocolate in the continent of Monarcha. Yeah, I mean we haven't introduced kids, but you know things like that there would be confectioners. There definitely would be confectioners, and because obviously sugar is available and things like that, um, they would. You know, they would have confectionery and things like that. You know, fondant, cakes are very popular, obviously because of bread and different grains available. They would have cakes. You know, um, they could make any type of lolly that they wanted. Really, I mean, in the desert realm, there is a throwaway remark in, I think, in a future chapter that does mention ice cream. So you know, they do have ways of making frozen desserts. They ship ice in. They get ice in from the western mountains, which are beyond the forest realm. The mages have special powers that can keep the ice frozen, and then when it gets to the again, this is something I've yet to sort of include in a side story or something, but I've worked it all out that they will have ways of making ice cream and things like that. You know, I want to keep aspects of the world familiar to people, but at the same time keep it separate from our world in other concepts. So, you know, at least there's some familiarity to them when they watch. But going back to your question about the taverns, you know, it would be there wouldn't be anything like burgers or chips or things like that, but you'd have a lot of like roasted meats, you know, venison, wild boar, rabbit, veal, mutton. Of course, I should say at this point there are a couple of characters because the performers are who are portraying them are actually vegan. The inns will also provide vegan meals. They actually have. This is something very special in my world. There are characters because their people are vegan. Yeah, good idea. You know, be like me. Always think. Keep thinking. Um, so that's something else I've just thought of actually for the forest realm, because they're glass makers. I've just come up with this idea actually. Glass candy. It's not. We would probably know them as boiled sweets, but glass can. They would call it glass candy or edible glass, where they'd obviously melt the sugar down and give it different colours so it looked like stained glass. That's a good idea actually. Glass candy. Yeah, I like that. See, this is the thing. These conversations are a two-way street. You know. So that's one concept. Another concept for the forest realm, actually. This is growing by the minute. I like this. I do. So yeah, we've got the glass candy. Ow. They would also have a lot of like fruits of the forest, like. Well, they could be. They could be like gummies. In Britain, we have something called boiled sweets, which are quite hard. You know, which are quite hard. If you try to chew one, you break a tooth. I know someone who broke a tooth on them. Google something like Fox's Glacier Mints or something like that. Yeah, they can be hard or soft. The glass, what I'm referring to as edible glass, would be hard. They would be like I believe they call them in America suckers or something like that, where it's like a lollipop on a stick, but it's solid sugar. I believe they call them suckers or something like that. I can't remember what we call them in Britain. But there would definitely be gummies as well. We call them jellies over here. Or things like. Don't quite know what that is. Dum-dums. Dum-dums. Bear with me. I'm just going to educate myself. Yes, yeah. We call them chupa chups over here. We call them chupa chups. But yeah, very much the same concept. Because they would be very popular with the although we haven't actually introduced children into the series, and I probably won't, because that's a very complicated thing to do. But candy like that would be popular with the younger generations of the entire monarchy, from the forest realm right back east to the desert realm, because they can be made quite in the world. Yeah, we don't have Tootsie Roll. We don't have Tootsie rolls or things like that over here. We just have the equivalent of we just have the equivalent of Dum Dums over here. They're called Chupa Chups. CHUPA, CHUPS, and they're popular. They are popular. I haven't had one in years, but they like Dum Dums. They come in various colours and flavours, so that works beautifully. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. This is the thing. Once you've got the script, and I'll say this to everyone watching at the replay, once you have the script, you're free to develop your character as you see fit. To fit your style of ASMR, to fit your ideas. allow your character to evolve how you want it to, how you want them to. Don't feel tied down by what I write. This is what I always say to people. Don't feel you have to. I mean, you don't even need to discuss it with me, really. I don't have any issues if you want to, you know, add these little details to your character, because I think that's superb. I genuinely think that is a really good way of developing your character, sort of coming up with. Well, it is. Um, it makes it is handy, because I think I lay the groundwork for the characters, and everyone else does the rest. My contribution is the writing and the creation, but I think it's so much more fun for people to come up with their own ideas for their characters, rather than me tell them what to be like. Or I give the suggestions, but everyone is free to work from those suggestions. So there's no one is tied down to what I write. I mean, everyone's free to even. Sometimes I don't even write a script. I just put in key phrases. I say you can say anything you want. There's a couple of characters you see in the Dream Realm section. Excuse me. In the Dream Realm section, that come from other dimensions. Because of that, I've said please include these topics in your conversation, but everything else you say is up to you. I'm not writing a script for this role. As long as you include these topics in your conversation with the viewer, you're free to say what you want, to talk about your dimension, yourself, anything like that. Because sometimes it is difficult to write for a character if you don't know anything about them. You've created them, but you don't know anything about their background. So it makes it more interesting for certain elements. Or sometimes I write a partial script and let. Ooh, that's interesting. What would you like it to be? Because that is not an issue to me at all. If you want her to have if you'd like her to have a magical ability, I think that would be. We haven't got many characters that allude to. Well, we have characters that allude to magical abilities, but most of them are chaotic neutral, not chaotic good, or they are. What's the other one? Bear with. This is 3rd edition, so 3rd edition. I'll say that again because I covered my face there. 3rd edition. So this is obsolete now because I know they're up to a new edition, but this just reminds me of the. This is one of my source books. I've also got the Dungeon Master's Guide, but because they're all 3rd edition, they're. I can never remember what chaotic neutral is, or what the equivalent of chaotic neutral is. As I say, I've never actually played Dungeons and Dragons, but I've got the books. I've got 3 of the books from the 3rd edition, which is no good now because I think it's somewhere up to like the 5th edition. So, I mean, these are good for my writing, though. I think they are worth having just for my writing, really. I've taken a lot of inspiration from them for characters and things. I've started introducing traits. Lawful good. Yeah. We've got. We've got, quite a few lawful good characters as well. It makes, and of course all the leaders of the academy have magical abilities as well, because above, beyond the fact that it's an entertainers academy, it also has an underlying magical sort of a magic connection, shall we say. But yeah, if you'd like your character to have a magical affinity or ability or whatever, please do. Once I hand over the script, it's your role to develop. I don't do anything else with it myself. I mean, I know you alluded to it in the video, so that's absolutely fine by me. And I thought it was a brilliant video, so I'm looking forward to constructing chapter 13 once I have the all of the videos through. So please do. Yeah. Just checking something. So, it's I'm getting a bit bunged up. Well, we'll carry on. Just a little tad bunged up in the nasal passages. Yeah, so as I said, always happy to help out and help develop roles and characters and things like that. Must say that was an interesting little outburst we had earlier on of so many posts, but these things happen. You just carry on regardless. At least we've got a bit of, yes, it went a bit chaotic, I think, but never mind. Make do. Think. Yeah, no, as I say, if because what was the other thing I'm thinking about? There was something else I was thinking about for a character, but I can't remember what it was. When you sort of start thinking about ideas and things, and they just seem to suddenly fly out of your mind, sort of thing. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think yeah, I think so. Yeah, I agree with that. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, please do. Please include it. Develop it, and utilise it. And as I say, I will sort of be writing. Yes, definitely. And when the Civil War starts, which I'm working on, I think she would definitely play a role in that. I definitely think she would be able to be involved somewhere there, helping the viewer and Yes, yeah, that would definitely be something to um, be something that would be good for future chapters. In fact, when we get, especially when we get to the Civil War, because and there she would probably be. Oh, hello, Vera. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. I've I'm discussing. Yeah, I like that Dapist. Yes, I'm just to bring you up to speed. Vera, I'm working on my. I'm discussing with Dapist her character in the Lord of War and Heartache. She plays a peddler, and we've been discussing some of the lore of the series. I've been working on this project for quite some time now, and um, it's become a bit of a passion project for me, shall we say. I've actually written scripts now for characters across 22 chapters. We're only up to chapter 8, but we've got characters created so far up to chapter 22, and I've got a whole load of characters still to cast. I've also got what I call my summertime project, which is a spin-off called The Academy, which is set in the desert realm. And I do talk a lot about it on Twitter and Instagram because it's something I take pride in it, really, because I never imagined it would get beyond the first chapter. But, so many of my friends in the ASMR community have embraced it and joined me in the project that I think it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. We've all worked hard, and even if people have participated once, it's I've had a lot of good names participate so far. I mean, I've had people like Official Rainer Tamrin ASMR has participated and is participating again. Sleeping Artist ASMR is participating again. Who else have we had on board? Jodie Marie has done it at least once. Yaloma and Crystal Ball ASMR have both appeared once. Mike Talks ASMR has appeared once and is appearing again. Spinner of Trails is appearing. Irma La Dolce is appearing. Where's my list? Because I've got the list here. I always seem to go through the list, but Black Cat Aura ASMR has appeared a couple of times. Articulate Design, World Bry, Quaint ASMR, Catter ASMR, Whisperwind ASMR. Yeah. Yeah, I do actually have some cave backgrounds you can use. Actually, I've downloaded them from Pixabay, so I do have them available. If you watch Reporting into Necrotia, Chapter 3, Folly of the Kings, which was a play on Valley of the Kings, the cave backgrounds are... Well, the one from Folly of the Kings is one I adapted. It's got images, because I do make a lot of the images from Pixabay and resource images I use. For the Ondarian Monarchy, I'm actually using photos I took at the Wealden Downland Open Air Museum in West Sussex here in the UK. And I sort of I cut and merged some of the images together. So some of the buildings you see in the background aren't actually anywhere near each other at the actual open air museum. but they fit together beautifully to create. So far, I've used them for Port Night Song, which is the major port of the Ondarian monarchy. Um, so, um, yeah, I like that. I like that. So yeah, I mean, what characters have we got? I mean, we've got the most common is obviously the narrator, but I mean, I've played several innkeepers. I think my most popular character, two most popular characters I play are Rafik the Rogue and Lord Volkov, leader of the vampires. They seem to be my two most popular characters with viewers. But we've got Gentle Rain ASMR coming up, ASMR Kiki in the Garden, Sheila Whisper, Silver Spoon Service ASMR, Selkies ASMR is involved. 4:25 in the morning or in the afternoon. Good grief. Midnight Raven. Oh, right, okay. I was going to say. So it's what? You must be East Coast America then. Because it's about 5 or 6 hours behind here in the UK. I mean, it's 25 past 10 in the evening here. So yeah, and the Dream Realm is probably going to be the most interesting because that's going to introduce a lot of characters from the main, possibly a lot of one-off characters, but that's where the biggest amount of fantasy will take place, because in the Dream Realm anything can happen. Oh, your Central States. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I know a lot of people on the west, on the East Coast, but yeah, so it's going to be an interesting series as it progresses, because I love fan. I tried doing a sci-fi series and there's only 8 chapters of that. I found sci-fi very difficult to write because it's so constricted by rules, whereas fantasy, anything goes, and I think that's the beauty of it, and that's why I love it. And the Lord of War and Heartache, and as I've said, I'm always looking for participants, for anyone who wants to collaborate. I've got I've still got 77 roles in total. There's quite a few. For example, there's 22 female roles available. 23 male roles available, and 32 not gender specific roles, which means anyone can play them, male or female. I always refer to them as not gender specific or non-binary, so that anyone can play them. And obviously on the Academy there's still 7 roles, but I've got a feeling that 2. Yeah, see, the Academy for me is my mini-series. It's a spin-off of the Lord of War and Heartache. It sort of takes place during the main storyline, but it's separate to the main storyline, so there won't be a lot of mention of main plot in it. So there won't be anything like mention of the crown of the Tyrant King or anything like that. It will be more about the vampires attempting to take over the Academy, because it's filled with a lot of light magic, a lot of something. The character of Alina, as played by Omola Dolce, uses a concept called love magic, which she developed herself, which I'm very pleased with. I'm very glad she went down that route, because I like the concept. But yeah, but the academy is kind of going to be based around the vampires trying to break the light magic that emanates from within it, because it can damage them. So I've got someone on board to play a vampire that infiltrates the academy. In fact, you'll meet them in chapter 13 when they send. I'm looking forward to seeing their footage, actually. But yeah, you know, it's going to be an interesting project and things like that. And as I say, you know, if anyone ever wants to join, I keep saying this. I know you're probably, everyone out there watching this video back is probably tired of hearing me say to make no apologies at the same time as I do. But you know, if you really are genuinely interested after hearing all this conversation, please drop me a line. You know, contact me through my email on my profile in my bio on my channel, or you know, contact me via Twitter, or even Instagram. I mean, I'm AfolASMR on all three, so I'm very easy to find, and I use exactly the same profile picture, so I'm incredibly easy to find. If you look for the profile picture that's on my YouTube channel, it's exactly the same on Twitter, on Instagram. You know, it just makes it so much easier for people to locate me if they want to contact me, and that's the thing. You know, it really does make a difference having people involved, because it brings my world to life. Absolutely brings my world to life. You know, I thought it was going to end up just being me doing all the voices and playing all the characters, but the fact that I actually am able to share it with other people is what's so important to me. You know, the fact that, I mean, it's such a big world now, I couldn't do it on my own. You know, there's only so many voices I can do. You know, I can develop other voices, but it takes time. You know, Volkov, Maximus, Rafik, Geoffrey of Trigon are probably my four major characters, because they're the ones I can just, you know, I did the demonstration last week, actually. You know, I actually did a demonstration last week live on how I did the voices. I don't know if I'll do it this week, but unless you'd like me to, quick, I can get up some of the guidance. I use Audacity, and I change the pitch of my voice. So Snake Oil says, I like it. If you want to develop the character and do your own thing and include him, that's absolutely fine by me. You know, I'm all for it. I'm absolutely all for it. I think that's superb. That's why, again, that is why I really like working with other people on my project, because the ideas that people have come up with have exceeded my own. You know, this is the beauty of collaboration. And the nice thing is, for me, is I accept audio and video. So if people don't like showing their faces, on video, they can just send me their voice, and I will. I mean, Sheila Whispers. She's doing it in the style of her channel, which is animation, like she does on her videos. Who is she playing? Which is perfect because she is playing. If I can remember. I like that. Mezzy and Desi. Yeah, I like that. Elizabeth, a trapped dreamer from another dimension. And because it's the dream realm, people can be who they want to, look like what they want to, for her, and even Silver Spoon Service, who's playing Tara the Lotus Queen, visiting from another dimension, both have absolutely free reign over their characters and their dialogue, apart from the key points that I've asked them to include. So, that is how I work, and I think that's marvellous. Oh, Cloudy, hello, welcome. So good to see you. Welcome. So, yes. So it's really become something big. Granted, it's not a very well watched project, and my channel is very small. But at the same time, I'm okay. My upload rate is quite low. However, it's because I take my time. I don't rush. I don't like to rush these things. I do not like to rush these things. I think it would be wrong to do so. No, you can't rush creativity at all. I don't think. I really think that would be wrong. I'm doing well, thank you, Cloudy. Doing very well, thank you. Yes, yeah, sort of helping Dappist ASMR out with her character. I would say chaotic neutral, not evil. I would say chaotic neutral. Chaotic evil, you're looking at vampires and the Tyrant King. Oh, of course, she had a live stream, didn't she? Has that finished now? Because I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on here for quite some time because. Oh no, that is still going. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. I did have an influx of people earlier, but they all apparently had the same, exactly the same request. So I've very diplomatically said that I would. How shall I put it? Investigate it. Whether or not I actually go ahead and actually do it is another matter. But sometimes you have to be polite and say that you'll at least consider it. I think they were too, Dappist. I think they were, and to be honest with you, they went away after a while, so they obviously got bored because I just kept calm and carried on. So, Oh well, that's lovely to hear. That's lovely to hear that she's hosting them all. I'm sure they were, Dappist. I think they were. I have no interest in the dark web or hackers. I have no interest in hacking. I am so much more than what they think I am. And I don't mean that to sound arrogant or anything, but they underestimate my morals, shall we say. I have a very strong moral fibre, shall we say. So their loss is my gain, because obviously they've added to my algorithm. You know, that little burst of activity actually probably did very well for my algorithm. So, take it as a positive, even though they were trying to be negative. So, yeah, jokes on them. No, but seriously, I think everything's going well, and I'm so glad to, I will admit I forgot that one of the bigger channels was hosting a stream, but I carry on. What I do becomes a vlog, really. At the end of the day, it makes no difference to me. I enjoy doing it, so I enjoy interacting with you people, really. So thank you so much for joining me. Not that I'm going anywhere. That's not the end of the live stream. I'm not suddenly going to cut off. So yeah, I mean, okay, these live streams probably do get a bit repetitive week after week, but I've always got something new to talk about in the project and new ideas to share. And obviously this is my best way of giving a proper shout out for people to participate. But yeah, I'm always writing, always thinking, always coming up with fresh ideas and things like that. Yeah, but I like your idea about the twins, Dapist. I think that's a very good idea. Yeah, please do develop that. I'm interested to see how that evolves. I didn't notice any motorcycles. I didn't notice any cuts, to be honest with you. I think you've edited it really well. Yeah, I'm fortunate that I live in a cul-de-sac anyway. A dead end. Good night, Cloudy. Thank you for dropping by. Always a delight to see you in my chat screen. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, yeah, good night. Yes, good night indeed. Sorry, I'm trying to think of multiple things at once. Dragons are the big ones that have been mentioned. In Rise of the Sclade, which was the third. Oh, with a skull, right? Yeah, I get you. In Rise of the Sclade, the dragons are mentioned. What haven't been mentioned yet are in the Forest Realm. You're more than likely to get. I will drop you a message about that. Yeah, we'll work something out, because there are a couple of chapters she might fit into. Actually, I think that would be fun. Possibly chapter 21 or 21 or 22, I think, because 22 is taking place in Port Night Song. I'll message you about that on Twitter. We'll do it. We'll discuss that properly. Other mythical creatures to feature would be in the Forest Realm. You'd have unicorns. You've got to have unicorns. You'd also have. I want to have a bit of include a chupacabra. I want to find a way of including a chupacabra. I think that would be a lot of fun to throw in a little bit of a sci-fi element into a fantasy fiction. So I think a chupacabra would be No, don't be sorry at all. No, I like the way you're thinking. I do like your thinking. Really, keeps me on my toes, and I enjoy that. Um, uh, yeah. What else? Maximus was originally going before I made him a vampire. Maximus, who I played, was originally going to be a werewolf. So there will be hints or mentions of werewolves. What else? You've got to have giant spiders. You've got to have spiders of some sort. That if you watch the Dragon Hunters, which is the first to feature the forest realm directly. Yeah, there was. I can't remember what it was. I have heard of drop bears. There's a mystical creature. They talk about a mystical creature attacking people in the forest, on the border of the forest realm and the mountain ranges, known as the Dark Mountains. I haven't revealed what that is. The picture I use in the opening segment of a beast is not actually the creature that they talk about. It's just there to demonstrate how big the creature is said to be. I'll give that one a thought. Evil koala bears. I'll give that one a thought. I'll get back to you on that one. Not. What's the word? I'm not gonna knock the idea. I think that could be a lot of fun. In fact, I'll give that one a thought, and maybe imported from the. Yeah. Well, we could have things imported from across the sea, the ocean, or the sea, or whatever. Oh, yeah. I think I know the one now. You mean? Yeah. No, well, I think there's a lot of stuff that can be developed. I definitely think there's a lot of potential for this project. I mean, I've been working on it since July. Officially, Chapter 1 was uploaded on July the 20th, 2020. The ones you see on the playlist were re-uploaded. The original versions from Chapters 1 to 6 and the original versions of several of the side story chapters are still on my channel, but there's edited versions with better sound, better footage, with a more uniform appearance, cleaned up footage, shall we say, with a more uniformed appearance across the board, and with new music, so it's more uniform. So I think, so those ones sort of recently got uploaded in the last month or so. And then obviously Chapter 7 onwards are brand new uploads. I re-uploaded the original chapters because I did get complaints that the volume for the music especially was too loud. Did it so it's much more. Yeah, I got complaints basically, but the original versions are up if people still want to view them. They are, aren't they? Cryptid, and that's the thing. What would be cryptids to us would feature in, would appear in the world of Lord of War and Heartache. So, you would have lake monsters, sort of equivalent to Loch Ness and things like that. not in the Ondara, not in the continent of Monarcha, where the main story is set, but you would find them in the Dragon Realm. The dragons would obviously rule the realm, but they wouldn't be called dinosaurs. They would be called wingless dragons. So they would be considered, and in my world, dragons grow to dinosaur sizes. So, you know, they would be huge. But well, put it this way: in the dream realm, you've got visitors from another dimension, from other dimensions, because the dream realm is like a central realm that connects all the other realms together. Time travel, I haven't really considered as such. It could be a potential, but that's something I'd really have to look into and investigate for the series. I don't want to get it too bogged down in science fiction. However, I am open to, let's say never say never, because it is a concept that could be useful, like in like the equivalent of what happens in Skyrim, if you've played Skyrim, when you read the Elder Scroll to find out what actually happened to the defeat of Alduin, when he was first defeated. I won't go into too much details there because I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't finished Skyrim, but I think most of people who watch this back have probably played and completed Skyrim at least once. So yeah, time travel is a concept I will happily look into and consider. It might be useful for when the Civil War breaks out, because it might be useful for learning how to defeat the Tyrant King, because I haven't actually said how he was defeated at the end of the previous Civil War. So, that I think time travel could be a viable concept for the project in the future. Not quite at the moment, because I'm trying to concentrate on the finding of the crown and the potential return of the Tyrant King. That's the main focus of the series so far. Once it gets to a much more, once we sort of got past that hurdle, I can start introducing new aspects, different concepts, new ideas and new thoughts into the process. So I think, all in all, yeah, I know I went around that answer quite the long way round, and I go around the houses when answering questions like that. Let's just say time travel is definitely an option to consider. Also remember, based in things purchased, the main is totally going to get drunk if not careful. Yeah, 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 I think so. Yeah. So we haven't had drunkenness yet in the series, but I think, considering that the viewer has been what's the word, hypnotised quite a few times, I'm sure it'll be quite easy to get them drunk. I mean, they're going to be losing their body soon, for the the Dream Realm sequence. Chapter 14 will explain how it happens, and then chapter 15 to 19 will be the Dream Realm. So that's going to be, that's the sequence I'm looking forward to putting together. There's a few people I need to get in contact with to ask how they're getting on. I've kind of left it for a while since I've contacted a number of people. There's still a few people I need to write scripts for that sequence, so I'll do that next during this week. Yeah, so what else? The thing is, I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always one step ahead of the game. I'm always thinking on my feet for this concept. There's always a new idea coming forward, a new concept to work upon. I mean, the Academy, for example, that came to me after I developed Chapter 9, and I thought because obviously the Academy features in Chapter 9, I think I thought that could be a concept in itself, get some people involved in a separate storyline and work on it that way. So yeah, I think that would be worth, I think it's worth pursuing that project. I genuinely think that's worth pursuing. As I say, if I could get people on board for that, especially, I think that would be really good fun. And I mean, there's nothing to say that in fact there's nothing to say that the Peddler could make an appearance in the Academy series as well, if you were interested. I think they could sell sort of magical objects and jewellery and things to the performers or something like that, if you think that would be of interest. I genuinely feel that could work. Or it could be the twin that you've spoken of, selling fake objects that they claim will help the performers, which of course will be of no help whatsoever. I think that could be a lot of fun. Obviously that's up to you, and I think that could be part of that particular storyline. And if I can get more people on board, then that would be amazing. So where was I? Where was I elsewhere? Just trying to think off the top of my head, ladies and gentlemen. This is normally the point where I say something like talk amongst yourselves, but I'll keep on. I'll keep going. We're up at the 2-hour mark. Let's see how long we can actually push this. I think we can have a lot of... So definitely yes. If you want to participate, and I've said this several times, very easy to contact me. I think it would have. I genuinely think it would be fun if the twin appeared rather than selling fake artifacts, because I think that would be a lot more sort of you know you could have the students being sort of hungry for fame, and therefore not you know not realizing what they're buying a fake, because the sales pitch could be really convincing. I think that would be a lot of fun, because it will only be after Desi disappears that they realise they've been duped. But the thing is, they sort of allude to them being they Desi could definitely just sort of say that the artifacts are magical as such, because it's a quick buck, it's a quick coin. So you know, she and Mezzi would definitely have the sales pitch. I like that. Yeah, lots of talking under her breath. Yeah. Um, I mean, the students are bright because they think the artifacts would actually help them reach their sort of. And then I might work it that it turns out eventually that no, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Actually, I think I'll keep that as a surprise. I think I'll keep that as a surprise for the project, for the summer project, because I think that could be a lot of fun to work the character into. In a way, into the storyline that kind of makes sense. I mean, not that it wouldn't make sense that you'd have a peddler turning up giving, selling wares that claim to help students become better performers. That would make a lot of sense. But I think I've worked out a way of making it all fit together, and I can see it in my mind's eye, and it works. But I don't want to say it now, because I want it to be a surprise for the viewers. I really would like it to be a surprise for the viewers. You know, and but it wouldn't be characters that have actually appeared. It would be other. So once the. Oh yeah, I'll definitely message you on Twitter at some point. It won't be tonight, but I will, because I'll watch this back and skip through to these parts, so I can check the chat feed, so I can work it all out, what needs to be discussed. But that's not a problem. I can sort that out. No worries. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, if you've got to get away, don't let me keep you. I can. I mean, I've been going for over 2 hours now. So, if you need to disappear, unless you're happy to continue conversing, I'm in no hurry. But don't let me keep you. Well, I can go on for as long, and maybe some more people will join us. So that's absolutely fine. But yeah, so I've got plenty of concepts and ideas that I can work on and build upon, and I'm really happy with the way things have been going. I really think there's a lot of... I know I've repeated myself a lot this evening, but there's a lot of potential for this that I feel... There's a lot of strong potential, I feel, for this concept. It's just getting people on board, really. It really is just getting people on board. You know, it's difficult because obviously I've got the people who return. I have got the returning performers, or my ensemble. Well, that is a good question. The thing is, with magic, you could be from anywhere. I think in my notes I said you were Gebelranian because the character was registered in the city of Gebelra, but all citizens, unless specifically stated in the notes, have to be registered with a certain city, but technically you don't have to be born there. So you're only... because there's no actual nationalities, it's only to do with the city where you're registered. So Mezi and Desi would be Gebelranian through registration, but I mean, you could be from the Firelands, you could be from one of the other distant lands across the sea. You could, I give no names to any of the other lands. I just call them like the land from in the west, or the mountainous region. There are going to be characters I introduce from other lands and things. I mean, Cleo, for example, comes from a distant land as well. She doesn't come from the monarchy at all either. Yeah, there's plenty of characters that won't come from the main continent that the story is set on. And I'll leave that entirely up to you, really. I think that's an interesting question because so far I've never really named nationality. There is no borders. They all merge into... There is like a wall along each... there is like a border wall across each section of the monarchy, so the desert realm, the forest realm, but really it's nothing to do with people travelling. It's to do with the reason the wall was built. The walls were built by the Tyrant King to control taxation of goods. So they had to follow certain routes and go through certain checkpoints. Citizens are free to walk through or bring their, if they're moving house or something, they can freely bring their personal effects through. But if it's, goods being bought through to sell or to trade, then they would have to stop at the checkpoints for... oh, that was my chair, I beg your pardon. They would have to be undergo taxation. So that's the whole point, though, the walls were built. It's nothing to do with stopping movement or anything. It's only to control the trade routes, narrow them down a bit more, and keep the traders in check. Although anything like peddlers or anything like that aren't affected by them because they don't carry enough. It would be like trading in bulk of things like steel, sand, anything like that. Peddlers wouldn't be affected by it because they carry multiple objects of different types. It would take too long to taxate them, really, so they just get waved through. So yeah, anywhere you want to be from, really. I can always discuss that with you in the DM message anyway. That's not an issue. I'll make some notes and send them to you. Yeah, I mean, as I say, magic is covered in all three realms, in all three of the realms. However, obviously, one area is more heavily regulated than the other. The desert realm, magic is practiced freely. As I said earlier, Ondar is heavily governed by the Guild of Mages, and the Forest Realm have their own sort of control over the power of magic, so it's easy to develop and sort of work into the story. Yeah. Just looking at my notes and things. Yeah. But as I say, always happy to discuss, always happy to answer questions about it all, and as I say, this is why I love doing collaboration work on my channel, because it really does bring out the best ideas, I think. Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, right. Yeah. Oh, so I'm probably talking very quickly then. Probably talking very quickly like that. I wonder what that's going to be like on 2 speed, times 2 speed. Yeah, so... Yeah, so... I don't know why I'm pausing, because this is live, and if you're on 2 times speed, you can't really catch up, as it were, unless you sort of drag the bar right along to the right hand side, which means but if you do that, probably with that long pause, you probably won't miss anything. Wouldn't it be funny one day if I did a live stream and I just went on and went, because people would think, oh my god, it's buffering, it's buffering, it's buffering. If I just went, of course I wouldn't have the fan on, because that would give the game away, because obviously if you can hear the fan in the background, well, the thing is, the picture could be frozen, but you could hear sound, so it could be. Of course, I just blinked, so that gives the game away. Oh, I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person. Oh, terrible man, terrible man, terrible, terrible, terrible man. Can't remember what that was from. I think that was from Vic and Bob. If you know, you know. Yeah, so I think so. I think being from the outside would help her fly under the radar, definitely. I agree with that. I can write you some descriptions of the other lands. They won't all have names, but I can definitely write you descriptions of them. I've got them in my head. I've got some ideas of what they might be like. I mean, the lands to the north. I mean, with being in the desert realm, they've obviously adapted to the climate and everything. Hence why I said about the style of the cosplay or the costume for them being what they were, because obviously they adapt. But it could be they come from the north, which is very cold, or the west, which is, very humid, or the Firelands, which is very drier than the desert realm. But to get to the Firelands, you do have to travel by sea. I've never actually revealed what's to the exact east of the desert realm, and I've never actually revealed what's to the direct west of the forest realm. There are lands, because that bit that you see on the map is just a little segment of the continent. That is just a little segment. The continent is much bigger than what I show it to be. And there are other lands, but I haven't shown them yet. In fact, the monarchy, as it's now known in total, all three realms together, is now collectively known as the monarchy. They are probably the smallest of the lands, and I really do need to try and expand on the continent and show what it actually looks like, because I didn't want the countries to be too big, because I didn't want them to be vast. The whole monarchy itself is quite big, but it's nowhere big as some of the continent, some of the lands of the continent. But again, I'll develop that. I will develop that. So there's always ideas. I'm always thinking ahead for these things and working towards new. Sorry, a message has just come through. I just want to make sure it's. No, it's nothing important. It's just junk mail. Just junk mail. I thought it was something relating to. Lord of War and Heartache, but it wasn't. I sent a couple of emails today with scripts and things, but it wasn't what I thought it was. So yeah, pretty much working through the continent as it goes. I use Incarnate for the maps, incarnate.com. Whisperwind ASMR actually put me onto it, and I'm very glad she did. It's a beautiful little program. Oh, good. I'm glad you caught up. Excellent, excellent. I hope everything I've said though was up to this point has made sense. I hope I gave you a bit of a giggle with the pausing, because I think that would have been, I think that would be a lot of fun. I should have done one on April the 1st. I should have done one on Thursday, a live stream, and just stared blankly into the camera. Ah. Oh. Yes, they do live longer. The elf descendants live the longest. They aren't elves as such, because they're more descended from the half-elves. Because of their ancestry being elven, they actually have the longest. They actually do have the longest lifespan. They look a lot younger than they actually are. The oldest elf the oldest elf descendant that hasn't been written yet is about, I want to say, about 2,000 years old. Yes, they do. They do. Fae. I don't call them as fairies. I call them the Fae folk. Fae. The Fae folk. I probably won't feature them because I don't really want my series to become like Whisperwind. I don't want it to be. They'll get a mention, but I don't want it to be a copy of something that's already being done superbly. I don't think that's fair. Hence why I'm doing the Crown of the Tyrant King, the Return of the Tyrant King, the Civil War, the dragons, the vampires, things like that. Yeah, there are concepts that probably do match, but I'm trying to make mine more. Whereas Whisperwind has individual characters, I'm trying to make mine multiple characters, so the story all slots together around multiple characters rather than individual encounters, sort of thing. Which is how I like to progress the story. But yeah, yeah, me and myself and Sage had discussed this. We both sort of do take. I know she plays D&D, so yeah. As I say, for me, it also goes back to things like Lord of the Rings. I mean, the Crown of the Tyrant King, in my I know you haven't actually seen Lord of the Rings, and that's no biggie. But the One Ring is the One Ring of power that controls all the other rings that are made, and I mean, most people know the story anyway. But the Crown of the Tyrant King is the equivalent of the One Ring. The only thing is, it's the key to him returning into the real world. So I think, yeah, this is the thing. This is why I find fantasy so much easier to write than science fiction, because anything goes with fantasy, and you can draw. It's a lot easier to draw on concepts from fantasy than it is science fiction. But the beauty with fantasy is you can throw science fiction into the mix as well, so you can have the best of both worlds combined into one. Into one, like your example earlier on, the concept of time travel. You know, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say it won't happen. That there is a good chance, because I've already mentioned other dimensions. Okay, that happens in the dream realm, but oh, thank you, Tingly Shoot, and welcome, welcome indeed. Thank you for joining me. Yes, yeah, I have to admit I do go in depth with a lot of my stories, with my storyline. You know, I sometimes I actually work backwards with the story. I work on the outcome, and then build, you know, and then pick it apart and work through it that way. Um, so you know, I always have different ideas and concepts for it that. And the one I've mentioned a lot of this evening is the Academy, because it's not part of the main story. It's a spin-off. And you'll meet a few characters. You'll meet at least 2 characters from that in Chapter 9. Arik the Bard and Alina. Arik the Bard in Chapter 9, I will say this, in Chapter 9 he is not in the same capacity that he is in the Academy. He's still a bard, but his capacity changes in the Academy miniseries. And I will reveal the reason for that, actually. Oh, hello, Selkie. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much. Yeah, we just to bring you up to speed, Dappist and I have been discussing her character for Lord of War and Heartache, and a few concepts for the Academy spin-off series, which I'm still looking for participants in, and the main storyline. And you know, we've really come up with some really interesting concepts and things. And you know, there's a lot of things we've discussed. Fantasy creatures, the types of food that appear in the series, which I've not covered yet. What else? Currency. You know, produce, pottery, things like that. Where pottery comes from, where glassware comes from, metalwork, things like that. Yes, there are fairy folk in the world. You know, there are mythical creatures, unicorns, things like the Loch Ness monster. You know, lake monsters, werewolves, which I haven't introduced yet, but I plan to. You've all heard that here first. Well, we've got vampires, so why not werewolves? No worries. I'm not going anywhere. This one's a long. I'm here for the long haul tonight. I'm here for the long haul. It's a 4-day weekend here in the UK, so yesterday was Good Friday, bank holiday. Monday is a bank holiday. It's a 4-day weekend. Stay up late and party. I'm never doing that again. I apologise. That was very silly of me. Don't I feel like a silly? So yeah, you know, lots of different concepts now to. Because what I'll do is I'll watch this back and go through the chat to make sure I can get all the notes down, because we got plenty of notes. Did have a couple of trolls earlier on, constantly asking about you know, sort of things involving some daft roleplay, but I dealt with them. They went off in a huff. I left them off in a huff. Quite proud of myself, actually. Handled it very well, I think, if you watch it back. something about hacking and the dark web, something ridiculous like that. I have no idea. So yeah, this is my pet project really. I've got some other things happening as well. I will have some regular ASMR role plays as well, but it's very much collaborative writing and performing now for me, because it's how I want to do it. It's the way I want my channel to go. And I think the more people, as I've said so many times this evening, the more people I can get on board to participate, whether they do audio or video, and I'm happy to accept both, is entirely up to them. That's the beauty of it. I can work and develop with both. So that is the true. Oh, that's okay. That was a message about another collaboration. That's fine. For another channel that I'm involved in. So I wanted to just make sure I'd sent a video to them, but I have. That's fine. So yeah, I'm always on the lookout. Always. And I'm going to say it again, because for people watching this back, because I said it at the beginning, I've said it sort of at the halfway mark. Yes. Now, this is something I'm looking at working on writing or developing around about August. I'm looking at doing a seasonal special at the end of the year, and this is something I've actually worked out already. It's going to be a prequel, and it's going to be set before the main story. Now, if I've got it written down somewhere. Because it's going to be quite a big one. It might be over a couple of videos, which would work over the sort of Christmas period. Where's my notes? Did I write it down? Sure, I worked it out. Description box notes, new tags. What's that one? Characters. No. But yes, the idea I've had for the Christmas edition would involve their family, and it's quite a big family. Grandparents, parents, both sets of grandparents. Parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, brothers and sisters, even friends, so there's their best friend, there's their best friends, things like that. A whole concept, and it will be a complete prequel, so it will be before even the Crown of the Tyrant King was ever discovered, because I want it to be like a happy occasion rather than set during the period when darkness is setting in. So it will take place sort of like a year before the main storyline begins. But yeah, that is something I really seriously want to cover. That I haven't worked on, but I would say yes. I would say yes, because I think I would even go as far to say I would reckon that the main character would even have children. We haven't investigated their past as such yet, but that's because there hasn't been any need to at the moment. When things start getting a bit more interesting, I think we will start to learn more about the viewer's character, the diplomat. Started out as the traveller, has now become the diplomat. Because it wasn't made clear, because it wasn't clear at the beginning what capacity they were going to be. We knew they were on their way to see the crown of the Tyrant King, but we didn't know if they were just like an inspector or a diplomat, and we've decided on that completely. So, what the plan is to introduce their family and create a whole seasonal mini-series, say over a couple of, say, 3 or 4 chapters, introducing various relatives and friends and family throughout to create something quite memorable. And I think they would have a spouse, and I definitely think they would have children, and the cousins and the siblings and the friends would all have spouses. It would be a huge, if we included every character you could think of, it would be humongous. It would probably span a couple of weeks, and I don't think we'd have a couple of weeks. So we'd have to boil it down to a few key characters, I think. So close family, close friends, definitely a spouse. I think that would be because I think for something like the spouse, it could be something like yeah, I like that. I definitely think that would be, yeah, I like that, because I think they would at first think it's Mezzy, rather than, they wouldn't realise they're dealing with a different person. You could sort of say that item I sold, you could sort of say that item I sold you, I need back, or something like that, because you know maybe they question you as to what the item is, but you could say, oh, well, I can't remember, you show it to me, sort of thing. Yeah, definitely something that could be worked out there, absolutely. I think that would be a very good concept to work with. Definitely. Yes. See, again, as I say, this is why I like collaborating, because people come up with new ideas, fresh concepts that I haven't thought of, and I think that's why it works so well. I think this is why so many people enjoy collaborating, because they bring something else to the table. Definitely indeed. Yes. Sorry, just playing with my fidget spinner. There's definitely, there's definitely room for growth and development in this, and I've made enough. I give enough leeway for it. I always leave enough space for new ideas and new. I like that. Yes. I think that would be fun actually. Yeah, I think that would work. The series definitely needs a character like that. Definitely needs a character like that. I mean, we've got people who like Rafik, and we've got people that like Lord Volkov, but mainly because they're dark and mysterious and are quite tragic, really. Lord Volkov, especially, has had a tragic life. You know, he's a victim. They're both victims of circumstance, which people seem to find they can, you know, pity them, as it were. But I think it definitely needs a character. I think it definitely needs characters that are safe to like, and I know that we've got at least a couple coming up that are like that. So I definitely think it would certainly work with Mezzy and Desi, because of that. So yeah, I like that genuinely. Um, yes, and of course, when I build on the other concepts, I'm sure there'll be other characters as well that appear like that. Um, so it will work. There's plenty of ways to make it function, and work as a whole story um, rather than you know trying to. It's evolving It is evolving naturally. That's the thing. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, um, definitely. Um, so I yes, yeah. Because a lot of the characters don't have distinguishing features. The thing is, I've never actually designed the characters. You know, because I give people free will with what they want to do with their characters. Um, I never mention distinguishing features, so I like the way you're going with this. I genuinely like the way you're going with this. It can definitely work wonders. Indeed, yeah. Uh, hmm. Just thinking, because there's other elements I could probably put into other characters as well. You know that would work to an extent as well. Definitely. Um, Indeed, because you know I yes. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I've had a couple of other ideas that I think are worth looking into. Um, I won't say now because they're not related to Mezzy and Desi, but they're related to a couple of my own characters. So I want to develop them at some point and work on them myself when I get a chance. But I think there's going to be there's definitely 100 times more potential in this than there was in my sci-fi series. I never really knew what direction I wanted to take that in, but this project, Lord of War and Heartache, is one I really have a good idea of where I want it to go and what happens after, because there will be a finale of this particular storyline, but I've got ideas for the future as well to take it beyond the Tyrant King storyline. You know, I've got. There's been a few hints to other storylines, so I really think there's true potential to take it further than just this one storyline. You know, see, the thing is, I was going to do it in seasons anyway, and season 1 was going to end at chapter 7, and then season 2 would go from chapter 8 to chapter 14. It hasn't worked out like that, but that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing at all. I have decided to. This isn't a professional project. This is a purely amateur project. It's an ASMR. It's a purely ASMR project. 100% amateur. I'm not a professional in any way. It's entirely made up of ASMR artists. No budget. No. It's entirely on my channel. Some ASMR artists make it for their own channel. But I'm just really, really passionate about it. It's an idea I've had for a long time, and I enjoy writing. I enjoy. I'm an amateur. I'm a purely amateur actor, voice actor, anything like that. I have no professional qualifications or training or anything. I just write and perform, and get my friends involved from other channels. You know, and that's pretty much how it's been since day one. I think so, Dappist. I think so. I'd have to work it out, because obviously you have to be careful when writing. You do have to be careful when writing for, you know, minors and things. Obviously there won't be any minors involved, because it is my channel isn't aimed at kids anyway, and never has been. I've never written anything with the intention of aiming it at the younger generations. It's purely ASMR entertainment for people who appreciate ASMR. So I would say yes, it's worth thinking about, but I'd have to really be careful how I do it, because there could be some concepts that could be difficult to do, and I don't really want to, you know, I mean, right, okay, this ties in with the family storyline thing. If you look in my in the playlist, you'll find a chapter called Season's Greetings, which does cover. It's not the best of the chapters, really. It was a rushed idea. I didn't have a seasonal special, so I just made one up. It's something that we will cover more in the family project, and what I'll do is I'll be developing images for people to use as their backgrounds, because I kind of want I want the house, the family home, to be very uniform in its appearance. The whole concept of Santa, things like the Easter Bunny and things like that, is something I will kind of cover But because there isn't exactly any concept of... See, this is going down a very difficult route now, because this comes down to the concept of beliefs. And that is something... Yes, people talk about things like the 10 spirits of the desert realm, but they're very different to beliefs that are held. They are literal spirits. They literally exist. You can call upon them to help you. This is the very delicate situation that I need to really think about and really communicate with people involved, because I really want to be very delicate and very respectful to people's ideologies and thought patterns and things like that. I don't want to just go charging in and bring concepts in that could cause upset or anything like that. You've got... I feel I need to be diplomatic about it. I do really think I need to be diplomatic and think about it really, really carefully. Not to say that the concept of a person bringing gifts or leaving sweet treats at a certain time of year isn't viable. There's definitely the prospect of it being accessible, but I would seriously have to think about how I go about it and develop it. So yes, I will say yes, but the concept would have to be adapted to make it comfortable for everyone, because you don't want to give the wrong impression. So there could be a Santa or Easter Bunny analogue, but as I say, I would have to be very careful in how I develop that concept, and I would talk to a lot of people first before even going ahead with developing it, because I think it could cause more problems than solve them. So I know that's not the greatest of answers, but I feel you have to be delicate with these situations. You don't want to upset people, and you don't want to cause misconcepts of what in time, with a bit of development and a bit of thought and conversation, I think it could genuinely be viable, as I say. But yeah. But I mean, going back to your previous question about comment about sort of having seeing the story through the eyes of a kid. Again, that would have to be very carefully thought about, and I would have to discuss it with a lot of people, because I know that such a concept could be taken the wrong way, and some characters could be, they wouldn't be able to interact with certain characters. I certainly wouldn't have them interacting with Rafik, because he is quite a slimy, dislikable character anyway, as much as people seem to like him because they think he's not that he's anything dangerous as such, but it's not the impression I want to give, having the viewer playing a younger character and meeting with Rafik. If you've seen if you've seen the chapter where he and Maximus actually do meet, which takes place after chapter 7, you will understand why I have my reservations about him being involved with anyone of an innocent nature. Let's just say, basically, Maximus threatens to break Rafiq's legs for a suggestion he makes about the character of Arundella. So, yeah, maybe need to think about that really carefully. And of course, any ASM artists who would be involved in that concept, I would actually speak with them first. I really would discuss it with them first, because, you know, it's something that makes me... I wouldn't... It doesn't... I wouldn't say I would be uncomfortable with it. Sorry, I will catch up with the chat. I just think you would need to go around the concept of the viewer being a younger generation character very, very carefully, because, you know, there's a lot of things in the world that, and there's a lot of people in the world that carry out some very inappropriate thoughts and ideas and practices and things, and you've got to be so careful in this day and age. You know, people might get the wrong idea, and yeah, I would discuss it first with everyone involved, because you have to be honest, and you can't hide anything from anybody. I am all about the truth. I'm all about the truth and honesty and openness and transparency. And in this day and age, as I say, you've got to be careful. Anyway, going on to your comment about making up holidays and festival market fairs, things like that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know, I can introduce things like that. My inspiration would come from Swarm ASMR's Waters Meet. You know, not quite like Waters Meet, because mine would be obviously only probably be in Ondar City. Probably would be in Ondar City, or maybe Garalos, Taros, or you know, there's sort of the three big cities: Taros, Garalos, and there is a third one. Let me just look at my images, because I've got them on my laptop as images. What's the third one? Skip down. View, preview pane. Cordavia. So you've got 4 large cities that you could have the markets in: Ondar, Garalos, Taros and Cordavia, which have a lot of potential. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly. I'd love to make it as immersive as possible. You know, keep it really sort of keep it lively. Oh, no! Sorry, my dad's just going to bed, so I'm gonna have to quieten it down a bit. So yeah, you know, keep it as immersive as possible, because I think that would genuinely be a lot of fun. Oh, good grief, it's midnight. Considering it's midnight, I think actually I will leave it there. I mean, I've been going for about 3 hours now, and I do need a comfort break. So yeah, again, I'll discuss that all with you. I'll discuss that all with you through the messaging. But considering it's midnight, I really think I need to. Yeah, I've been going for 3 hours straight now. So to be honest with you, I really think I ought to call it a night because I should be getting some sleep. Um, but um, thank you for joining me. It's been a real pleasure. Really good discussion. Thank you for all your questions, all your comments, everything like that. I really truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And to everyone watching back on the replay, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe. Please do like this video, etc, etc. And I will see you at the very next live stream. So, I will see you hopefully next week. Thank you so much again for joining me. And I shall sign off now. I bid you a very good night, very good day, very good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. All the very best. Goodbye for now.